Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big, weird, wild world out there, folks, and here we stand. Al pie del cañón, ready for anything. I'm Rob, that's Dan, and you're listening to
The ProBoh Show!
That's right, boys and girls. Welcome to this, what day is it, Dan? Tuesday edition of the ProBoh Show. And Dan's here. We cancelled the show and then uncancelled it. But you're not here on Friday, right, Dan?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. So, we have a full complement of shows up until Friday where we take a little break for Dan's doctor's visit. You're okay, right, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
Me too. You go to the doctors more than my 100-year-old grandma. So I hope you're okay too. No, to be fair, this year's been better than last year, Dan.
Yes.
Last year it was like once a week. Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't like talking about this, do you? Anyway, friends, here we are. Welcome. If you want to join us live in the chat, be one of our live audience members, be as cool, as sexy, as charming, as influential, as impactful, as intellectual as our amazing live audience, you can do that on twitch.tv twitch.tv/professional bohemian. Just Professional Bohemian on Twitch. You can also interact with the show outside of our lifetimes. You do that on my Instagram, @Professional Bohemian. And if you're extra specially cool, sexy, charming, you can join me on my Patreon, where you get all the VODs and some original series that I've got on there that are not available anywhere else, and other things. But there you go. Enough about that. Bohemian Professional or Professional Bohemian. Okay, let's see who's joining us live right now. We've got Eugene from Russia. How are you doing? He says good morning, as does The Bridge. Good morning, my beautiful Bonnie Bouncy Bohemians. Bonnie, Bouncy Bob, and darling, dashing, dandy, dutifully dexterous Dan. It's a lot, isn't it, Dan? First thing in the morning. She also says, I'm on a doctor's spree of late. The strike is stretching it out, and my patience, which I do have a lot of, Dan will be having fun. Yeah, thank God for the doctor's strike, otherwise he'd be off every week. We need more strikes so Dan can be in the studio more. Right, Dan? Oh dear. Sorry, I'm not gonna, it's illegal to do what I'm doing right now in Spain, making someone feel bad for, I'm joking, right, Dan? I'm joking.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mike says, good morning, dear Bohemians. We should get Dan more apples. Yeah, Dan, are you eating enough vegetables? Dan, do you eat enough vegetables?
Of course.
You getting your vitamin D, you're in the sun enough?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, there are no windows here.
Yeah, it's true. You're getting some exercise, though, right? You're getting.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's too much of a good life. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Artemisa says, good morning, Rob, Dan the Radio Man, and all the charming, cheerful Bohemians. Good morning. All right, shall we see some news today? Okay, let's get into it, shall we? Well, did I tell you what's coming up in today's show? I don't think I did. Okay, so today's 100 Humans. We're talking about work. Today, we're talking about work. We asked our 100 humans to name a reason you might not accept a job. Nombra una razón por la que podrías no aceptar un trabajo. So you go through the interview process, which of course should be two ways, shouldn't it? It's not just about them interviewing you, it's about you finding out about the company. You go through the interview process and you don't accept the job, but why? That's the question. And our unpopular opinion today is it's better to have a job you hate than no job at all. Whoa, it's a tough one today, isn't it? Because we all know the pragmatic answer to this is yes. But is it actually better? A job that's ruining your health, ruining your mental health. Es mejor tener un trabajo que odias que no tener ningún trabajo. That's today's unpopular opinion. But we'll get into that later. Again, we're kind of hovering around the topic of value, of money, of employment. A bit of a follow-up from yesterday's show. which was about time and its value. All right, let's get into some news, shall we? I've got some good news for you today. Actually, some bad news. I actually found out today the one pop star that I knew that was making music in the 2020s passed away. A guy called, what was his name, Dan?
Oliver Tree.
Oliver Tree. Which you may not know Oliver Tree if you listen to the show, but if you've spent any time on TikTok, a few of his songs went viral on there. I knew him from a song called Cowboys Don't Cry, really great tune. So rest in peace, Oliver Tree. My God. Anyway, let's get into some news today from Popular Mechanics. Oh, look, Vero's joined us. How you doing, Vero? Good morning, beautiful bohemians around the universe and beyond. Confirmed, I don't have an allergy. It's a cold. Oh, wop, wop, wow. Okay, hydrate, Vero. Chicken soup. It's your friend. Do you have a remedy for the common cold, Dan?
Not really.
No? Can I give you one?
Okay.
Okay. So, tea with ginger. So, like a ginger tea. Lemon, honey, and whiskey. If you don't have tea, lemon, or honey, it's fine. You can still make it. No, I'll be honest with you. I drink a couple of cups of that, and the hangover takes my mind completely off the cold. It works perfectly. Anyway, let's get into it. So this from Popular Mechanics. Here we go. You may be surrounded by trillions of conscious beings. Research suggests, and they aren't human. You may be surrounded by trillions of conscious beings, research suggests, and they're not human. La investigación sugiere que podríamos estar rodeados de billones de seres conscientes y no son humanos. Who do you think they're talking about in Popular Mechanics, Dan? Or what? Who or what?
Microbios.
Microbes. You think microbes are conscious? Okay. Well, let's find out, shall we, Dan? What if humans are not the only conscious beings on Earth? A growing body of plant research suggests we may need to rethink that assumption. Scientists cited in the article point to evidence that plants can sense their environment, respond to anesthesia, remember past experiences, communicate danger, and even make adaptive choices. Experiments with bean plants suggest spatial awareness and competition, while studies on mimosa plants, I thought mimosa was a cocktail, I'm being educated here, indicate they can learn from repeated harmless events and retain that memory for weeks. You know, Dan, I knew this. In my soul, I knew it before I even read the article. That's why I don't eat vegetables. Let's see. What's going on here? Mike says, isn't that the plot for the new Spielberg movie? Is it? The new Spielberg? I think the new Spielberg movie is about aliens, isn't it? About extraterrestrials. The article also pushes the idea further by asking whether consciousness might exist not only in the individual plants but across entire ecosystems. Dense forests and plant fungi networks may contain enough interconnected nodes to raise question about collective awareness. The example of acacia trees in South Africa, which increased toxins in their leaves and sent chemical warning signals to nearby trees when nearby trees when overgrazed by kudu, adds to the argument that plant behavior might be more complex than we usually admit. Taken together, the article challenges the human-centered view of intelligence and suggests that consciousness in some form may be far more widespread than we think. Dan, here's the question, the million-dollar question. Are plants conscious?
Según el artículo, sí. But for me, no.
According to science, yeah. Oh, Dan, you are a Gen Z, look at you. According to science, yeah, but for me, no. My truth. Well, I mean, it's still in the early stages of investigation, isn't it? So What the hell do we know? But it does make an interesting little thought experiment, doesn't it? I mean, I don't feel guilty when eating a vegetable, but I do kind of have a pang of guilt somewhere when I go to the butcher's and pick up my bacon and sausages for the week. Do you think dogs are conscious beings, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah, they are. Pigs?
Yes.
Cows?
Yes.
So even if a plant came up to you screaming, saying, "Don't kill me, please. Don't eat me."
The problem is that they don't do that.
They don't do that. Anyway,
No mercy. No.
no mercy for the plants, Dan. I'm with you. That's the secret vegan agenda, Dan. It's just to eradicate all the vegetables. Anyway, let's continue. Interesting article here from IOL.co.za. The year of analog. El año de lo analógico. We're an analog station still, happily, Dan. The year of analog. How Gen Z and millennials are reviving retro icons to fight brain rot. Still haven't got a good translation of brain rot. Podredumbre cerebral, Dan? Oh, you just say brain rot over here, I think.
Brain rot.
Brain rot. Thanks, Dan. So, the year of analog. How Gen Z and millennials are reviving retro icons to fight brain rot. El año de lo analógico, como la generación Z y los millennials están recuperando iconos retro para combatir la brain rot. No, Dan? No? Yeah, okay, thank you. In a world of endless notifications, streaming algorithms, and screen fatigue, a quiet analog revival is taking shape among millennials and Gen Z. The article argues that this is not just nostalgia or aesthetic curation, but a real attempt to reclaim attention, calm, and a sense of ownership in daily life. Physical objects like film cameras, vinyl records, paperback books, and printed photographs offer something our phones rarely do: focus. They do one thing at a time, demand our presence, and create boundaries in a culture where we are constantly reachable, searchable, and overstimulated. Yeah, there is a rise in so-called grandma hobbies, such as knitting, pottery, scrapbooking, paper journaling, and this article, interesting article, by the way, kind of highlights all those as a reaction to modern society. Why am I bringing this up? Because finally, if you're a regular listener to my shows on here, you heard me complain about the Prime Minister in the UK softballing the idea of banning social media for kids under 16. He kind of said a couple of weeks ago, well, we'll give them 3 months to fix it. Well, yesterday he finally came out and ripped off that band-aid and said banned for under 16s. And I'm very much in favour of that. You, Dan, not so much, right? You don't think it's a good idea?
16 is a very high age.
I would make it older, if I'm honest with you. 21, I would say. It's dangerous, Dan. And your argument is, right, oh, but yeah, but people will find a way.
So I can vote, but I cannot use redes sociales.
It's harmful. It's harmful, Dan. It's harmful.
I can go to a war, but I cannot use social media.
Okay, well, you can. At 16, you can use social media, Dan. You're allowed. They're not going to take it away from you. Your precious dopamine hits. Don't worry, Dan. Uncle Rob will protect you. You can use my phone.
It's always adults telling kids what to do.
Look, dude. Like, the argument is, well, they'll find a way. VPNs, rah. Look, kids under 16 can get hold of a beer in Spain. Si quieren, pueden encontrar una cerveza.
Y matar.
But the ban is still valid. Like, you're not allowed to drink alcohol under the age of, I think it's 18 actually here in Spain. You know, and I think it's the same. Like, parents shouldn't be the bad guys by restricting kids' mobile phone use. They shouldn't be. It should be good government legislation. It must be awful to be the mother or father of a 13-year-old kid and say, no, you're not having a mobile phone, maybe when you're 16. Because you're the bad guy, and it should be the government stepping in to say, look, these things are dangerous. So I'm all in favour of it. Again, I'm not going to table it for an unpopular opinion because we've done so quite a few times. But yeah, I'm very happy that the UK is bringing this or enforcing this, and hopefully it will have a ripple effect. I think the UK very much taking their initiative from what happened in Australia and hopefully here in the rest of Europe soon too. Anyway, on that note, let's go to today's unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
You may not like it, but social media is dangerous. It's a pernicious blight on society. By the way, guys, @Vogan Radio on Instagram. You can follow us right there. Right, Dan? Yay! Lots of interesting posts. But they're posts for your mum and dad, not for you. Go on, Dan. What do you want to say?
No, nothing. Nothing.
You're just laughing at the irony, right? Or the hypocrisy, you might call it.
I was gonna say, says the guy with a vape in his hand, but
yes,
now
they're
that you
bad
say
for
that.
you. Bad for you. Let's see what people were saying. So being a vegetarian is no longer an option. Shall we be eating air? In any case, many people talk to their plants. I shall be chatting with my hortensias presently. That's from the bridge. Yeah, talk to your plants, guys. They might be lonely. All right, so here we go. People think... Hang on, wait. Vero as well. People think plants aren't sentient beings until they see their movie, Little Shop of Horrors. Have you seen Little Shop of Horrors?
No.
Great movie. Very, very funny. A musical with a Motown music in it. It's really good. Anyway, today's unpopular opinion is it's better to have a job you hate than no job at all. Es mejor tener un trabajo que odias que no tener ningún trabajo. How do you think they voted on Insta, Dan?
I think they voted true.
They did. 63% of people voted true. But what do you believe?
I think it's true.
Now I'm starting to wonder how you feel about this job. Oh, Dan, you will suffer when you get a real boss, man. All right, so yeah, you think it's true as well in a very pragmatic way. But look, we can't just immediately wipe off the board a third of the population, well, over a third of the population that here on Instagram say false, right? Is it better to have a job that impacts your mental and physical health in a negative way than having no job at all? Is the acquisition of money, wealth, more important than your mental health? That's the question that I want to table with you today, friends. So you're right, Dan. True was the answer. So let's get into the pro column. A bad job is still better than no job. Income solves immediate problems. A hated job pays for food, housing, bills, and security. Unemployment can quickly create financial stress and instability. Yeah, I mean, financial security is important, but chronic misery can carry serious long-term costs, right? We've already seen the effects of stress on the human body. Anxiety, causing heart problems and severe mental and physical illness. But on the other side, of course, you know, there are other satellite issues around being unemployed, you know. Neither is unemployment good for your mental health. Structure and routine matter. Employment provides purpose, routine, and a reason to get out of bed, which can be beneficial to mental health. Yeah, but let's not forget, a toxic job can damage your mental health more than a temporary lack of work. Right? Have you ever left a job because you hated it, Dan?
No.
I did. I walked out of the office. On my way out, I said to the person in the office, I'm not going to be coming back. Thanks for everything. Goodbye. Walked out of the office and moved to the Canary Islands. Ooh.
No, but continue the story.
Yeah, I will, but later. It's easier to find a job when you have one. Employers often view currently employed candidates more favorably, making it easier to transition into something better. You know, but we are kind of forgetting that a draining job may leave very little energy or time to search for alternatives, right? quite often when you leave a job in those auspices, it's so you have the bandwidth to be able to find something you might enjoy more. Some experience is better than none. Even an unpleasant role can provide skills, contacts, and experience that improve future opportunities. Well, I'm only going to guess here, but if you hate your job, it's because there is no meaningful development of any kind. And it's just, some jobs simply just consume time, don't they? Time that would be much better spent in the doctor's office, right, Dan? Unemployment can erode confidence. Extended periods without work can affect self-esteem, motivation, and social connection. Yeah, it's true. I've actually seen this play out with my own eyes. People who, well, it was post-COVID, the era period where a lot of people ended up being laid off, and I did see some friends really suffer in their mental health as big producers, because I had friends, I have friends still in production that worked for some big production houses that work with some big channels here in Spain and big networks. And when they were laid off, it just really bit into their mental health. Yeah. But, it's worth saying that, okay, being without work can affect your self-esteem, motivation, and social connection, but so can a job that makes you absolutely miserable, right? Okay, just before we leave off, survival comes before fulfillment, right? The basic needs need to be met, and I think this is why most people would argue that it's better to have a job that you hate than no job at all, because it does provide you with the means to pay for your basic needs. All right. So let's get into the cons now. Los contras, saying no job can be better than a job you hate. Right? It's better sometimes to have no job at all than a job you absolutely despise. Toxic work can destroy mental health. Chronic stress, bullying, burnout, and anxiety can have serious psychological and physical consequences. True. Try being unemployed. See how that makes you feel, right? I mean, not every job you dislike is toxic. We hear that word bandied around so much, it drives me crazy. Oh, it's a toxic job. Maybe it's just simply boring and you don't like it. Doesn't make it toxic, does it? A hated job can consume your entire life. Since work occupies a large portion of adulthood, spending years in misery can be a heavy price to pay. But when the alternative is financial hardship and uncertainty, and the older you get, the harder it is to find a job. Eesh, is that really a viable alternative? Unemployment can create opportunity. Time away from work can allow retraining, education, entrepreneurship, or personal reinvention. Thing is, that's how it's sold, right? Just leave the job you hate. I remember the no work movement, right? And the idea is, well, you fall out of work and then you immediately fall into education or starting your own business or reinventing yourself. All those things require savings. And if you don't have savings, guess what? It requires a job. Bad jobs can trap people. Exhaustion, stress can make it harder to pursue better opportunities, creating a cycle of dissatisfaction. But, remaining unemployed is a very similar and a very difficult trap to get out of too. Again, you are less likely to find a job while unemployed because employers see that as a bit of a red flag. And you enter into this cycle where your self-esteem gets slowly eaten away. Life is too short. Spending years doing something you hate can feel like wasting a significant portion of your life. It's true, isn't it? But then financial insecurity can make life feel equally constrained. You can't go on holiday, you can't go out, you're questioning every cent you spend. Not all unemployment is equal. Someone with savings, family support, or a clear plan may be better off unemployed than stuck in a harmful workplace. I think that's the big difference, isn't it? We're not talking about walking out of a job, but making a real plan for the future may be better than being in a job you hate, right? Having a year's worth of savings and taking the leap, maybe that is better than being in a job you hate. It's an interesting one, isn't it? What's worth more? I see here. Your mental or financial health. It's better to have a job you hate than no job at all. That is going to be the poll. Es mejor tener un trabajo que odias que no tener ningún trabajo. True or false? I will post that poll in the chat and I will ask you guys to vote. When we get back, I will read all your comments, so do give me some more. Friends, I'll see you in a few minutes. Hey guys, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/professional bohemian. There you'll find VODs of the episodes as they are recorded live, blogs, vlogs, and behind-the-scenes content. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can do so on twitch.tv/professional bohemian, and you can participate in the polls we use in the show on Instagram @professional bohemian or Twitter @ProBoh, ProBoh. Okay, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It's now 9 a.m. Central European Time, and you're listening to me and Dan live. All right, how are you doing in there, Dan? All good?
Oh,
Okay, I'm just checking, checking your health. Okay, let's get into it, shall we, friends? If you've just tuned in, we looked at an interesting article from Popular Mechanics, suggesting that we may be surrounded by trillions of conscious beings, que podríamos estar rodeados de billones de seres conscientes. But what was it talking about? It was actually talking about plants. Yes, plantas, right? Vegetación. And how the interconnected dense forest and plant fungi networks may contain enough interconnected nodes to raise questions about collective awareness. It is a really interesting article. Of course, I will post the link on Patreon. You can check it out there. That's Professional Bohemian on Patreon. And we looked at the year of Analogue, how Gen Z and millennials are reviving retro icons to fight brain rot. And good for them. I think it's our generation. Well, I don't say our generation referring to Dan. I'm talking about ours in our listeners. We're the problem. Millennials, Gen Xers. We need to cut it out. We need to reduce that addiction to mobile phones, to social media. I mean, we spoke in the first half about the social media ban, but look, it's not any less dangerous. It's not any less addictive for adults, is it? It's just presupposed that we can control our addiction when we're older. However, some things prove to be too addictive, don't they? Things like heroin, cocaine, and we blanket ban those. I'm not saying we should be blanket banning social media, but there is definitely things that need to take place. I would say the algorithmic nature of social media needs to be eliminated. Let us curate our own viewing experience rather than training an algorithm, things like that. Anyway, more on that another day, I imagine. And then we moved into our unpopular opinion. We're continuing our topic about work and time, as we covered a little bit yesterday. But we're back on with it today. Today's unpopular opinion is it's better to have a job you hate than no job at all. Es mejor tener un trabajo que odias que no tener ningún trabajo. I mean, here in Europe, we obviously have quite a good safety net. I mean, here in Spain, though, if you leave a job, you're not entitled to paro. You have to be fired or be let go in order to receive paro and to have that access to that social safety net. So is it really better to have no job? I mean, I don't know if this is a consequence of my age, Dan. My being brought up by my grandparents. But I've got to admit, I'm a true on this one. It's better to have a job, albeit that you hate, while you find another job. You're on the same page as me with this one, right, Dan?
Yes.
Where does that belief stem from you? For you, is it simply about social mobility, being able to afford things?
Yes, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and perhaps compensating for the stress and toil the job causes you in your personal life. Maybe, I don't know. But the idea of being out of work, if I root around in my own mind, there is an element of shame in that for me. So when I walked out of that job and I went to live in the Canary Islands, I started a really promising freelance career that I still kind of engage in today. Back then, though, it was about producing content and offering advice as it pertains to social media, something which AI kind of has really kind of pulled the carpet from under. SEO también as well, sorry. But SEO doesn't really exist anymore, and any consultant worth his salt will tell you the same. So it's weird for me, the idea of being without work. So I had that plan. Before I was dissatisfied in the job, and I was waiting for the opportunity, for the reason to just get up and walk out. And eventually I was given one, and I did just that. But I had a plan. And the plan was to get all my belongings and move them to the Canary Islands and live there. And that's exactly what I did. And I rode out the recession, the 2008 recession, for a couple of years, and then came back to Madrid. Bim pam. Then I started working for writing for Secret New York. I was the editor-in-chief there, creating content for a New York City lifestyle blog, and then eventually came back here. But the idea of being out of work, I've got to be honest with you, just the idea of it, the thought of it fills me with horror, with shame. What do you mean you're not working? What do you mean you're in between jobs right now? Interesting. So let's get into some of your comments. It's better to have a job you hate than no job at all. Es mejor tener un trabajo que odias que no tener ningún trabajo. That's today's unpopular opinion. Vero says false. It depends on your situation, but sticking with a job you hate isn't necessarily the best choice. Having income provides stability, yes, but working at something that drains you also takes a real toll on your health, motivation, and opportunities. I think Vero here has really crystallized the two options, because maybe, although the idea horrifies me, okay, perhaps I'm being a little extreme there, but it does. The idea of being unemployed now, for example, at my age, terrifies me. It's not just shame, it's terrifying. I see what the job market is out there. And there aren't as many opportunities as we might think, right? Unless I lent heavily into my other work, which I could do, and probably, I'll probably enjoy quite a lot of success in that, but then I wouldn't have the radio, and I wouldn't have the this and the that, and I wouldn't have the title that I currently hold, and I wouldn't have that, all the things, working with the boys, or working with my team, all the things that fulfill me and enrich my life would disappear in a moment. Is it just a fear of change? Could be, to some degree. But maybe I'm coming at this from a completely misguided attitude. Perhaps the best option is to leave a job that doesn't fulfill you, and keep on looking until you found something that does. Rob, your rewording of the question shifted my opinion. Yeah, I hear you. It's perhaps not fair, is it what I said? It's better to have a job you hate than no job at all. It is, though, a question of what is worth more, your mental, physical health, or your employment status. When I phrase it like that, it makes me second guess my opinion. I imagine you too, right now, when it's phrased in that way, you might think, oh my God, yeah, maybe it is better to have no job. But then pragmatically, you look at the idea that you get paid every month and it lands in your bank account and you can pay your bills and, or if you're Dan, buy your Pokemon cards and things like that. And you think, okay, maybe I don't hate it. I don't know. Mike says, the anxiety of being unemployed and looking for a job for weeks or months can be terrible for your mental health. Yeah, Mike, I saw that play out in my own eyes. Someone at the time who was very close to me, post-pandemic, lost their job in a big Spanish producer, TV producer. And it absolutely hobbled them for years. We're not even talking a question of weeks and months, for years, because they didn't want to take any job. In the end, the employment market, even back then, we're talking, 6 years ago now since the pandemic? Even back then, the job market had shrunk. I mean, and now, forget about it. It's even worse out there. And the anxiety of searching, facing that constant rejection, time after time, or being ghosted by companies you're really invested in the idea of working at. It is just exhausting and anxiety inducing. And it does take a real toll on your self-esteem. It's not like you walk out of a job and you're on paro for the rest of your life. No, because that will run out. And there are rules and yeah. Eugene says, false. I once left one of my jobs after 2 shifts of working. Yeah. I mean, if you're lucky enough to be independently wealthy and you can do that, then, well, bully for you, but most of us aren't in that position. I mean, I could probably stay unemployed for a year on my savings, year or 2, you know. But would I want to? Just drain my bank account? Just because I didn't like the way my boss talked to me. Wah. Oof, being quite glib now. The bridge. False. Health comes first. If the job is affecting my mental health, I would leave. Yeah. I'm not sure on this one. I'll be honest. I am a true, because that's what my upbringing tells me, and it's very hard to deprogram myself. But health does and should come first, shouldn't it? Mental health above everything. It is the lens in which we see the world. And if we're in a negative headspace thanks to our job, then what the hell, friends? What kind of a world are we living in? What kind of a life are we expecting? Where most of our conscious time is spent doing something we absolutely despise. Is it even worth it? The poll has now finished. I've got your votes here. We'll read them in a second. Let's get into some comments I received on Instagram first. I did get some good ones. Let me see. Sorry, my apologies. I have to do a little bit of scrolling. Cedric Hoffman says, I've had both. Unemployment was way more stressful than working a job I disliked. Do you think that's true, Dan? I mean, I don't doubt that it was true for Cedric, but do you think that would be true of you? Unemployment would be more stressful than working a job you disliked?
Maybe for some time.
Yeah. I think it would. It would increase in stress the longer I remained unemployed, I think. I think it would increase the levels of stress. Let's not forget, you work in a job, and okay, if you hate it, it is 10 hours of your day, but then you do have other time in the day. Maybe perhaps not as much as you might like. But it is time, if you prioritize it, you can spend looking for other opportunities, I guess. Melanie Crawford says, I'm not sure. Some jobs can seriously damage your mental health if you stay too long. Yeah. Yeah. Is it fear of change that keeps you in? You know, there is this weird overlap, Dan, that I'm seeing here by the same thing as remaining in a toxic relationship and remaining in a toxic place of work. Right? You don't take that leap, perhaps, to get out of a toxic relationship as quickly as you should because of the fear of change, the fear of the unknown. Better the devil you know, we say in English. Mejor you say something similar in Spanish.
Mejor lo malo conocido.
Mejor lo...
por conocer.
Yeah, that's it. Better the bad you know than the bad to be known. Better the devil you know. Yeah. Anyway, Boris. Wow, this is a name. Mladnovic. Boris, how are you doing? A bad job at least gives you income, structure, and a platform to look for something better. That is, if you've got a bad job. If your job is bad because you're simply bored, you can fill it with job-seeking opportunities. But even if you have a job you hate, 9 times out of 10, you're being run ragged, aren't you? Doing 3 or 4 people's jobs. Valentina Morel says, it depends on how much you hate it. There's a difference between boring and genuinely miserable. There's an interesting thing as well nowadays. Like, you've got to wonder where the bar is. How people measure hating a job. Like, I've had in my life some really terrible bosses. Tone deaf, aggressive. Geez. I shouldn't mention any names. I actually like my boss now. I'm in a position I haven't been in a very long time. But prior to my current boss, I have met bosses, let's put it in that way, who have been simply terrible people. And I've consulted in places of work where I've seen the same thing. Sadly, as a consultant, though, you have to facilitate management rather than, you can't exactly fire or encourage a company to fire the person that hired you, can you? Yeah, what happened to the idea that the cream rises to the top? Not always the case, I don't think. Anyway, interesting discussion, friends. We should probably get to the results of today's poll. So I made the statement that it's better to have a job you hate than no job at all. Es mejor tener un trabajo que odias que no tener ningún trabajo. Right? Was that the translation? Que no tener ningún trabajo. And you guys said 75% false. Oof. I've got to admit, I'm very surprised at that, Dan. Is that a consequence of my upbringing, do you think? What would need to happen, Dan, for you to think, this is not worth the money?
Burnout.
Burnout, complete burnout. That's not going to happen with you, is it? Jeez Louise. No. Yeah, burnout might be it. Burnout might be it. Yeah. Yeah, burnout, perhaps a company asking me to do immoral things, having to lie professionally, things like that would hit my moral compass in a way. Like, I'm in a unique position that is if I was to lose my job tomorrow, I would just scale up other activities that I do and I'd be fine. I probably wouldn't even really notice the lack of income. I would notice the only thing that would really hold me back would be not working with Dan and Dave and my team that I adore. If that's not obvious, I do adore these guys. They are the best. Even Dan. That would affect me. But financially, I would be fine. So I'm in a bit of a unique position. But even recognizing that, the idea of being unemployed, of walking out of a company like I did when I was in my 30s, just the idea terrifies me. So it's surprising that you guys say false, but look, who am I to poo-poo your ideas? Maybe health does come first. I just question, how we pay for it, how we pay for life, and let's face it, things aren't getting cheaper, are they, folks? But all these things that we've been expressing, they're just opinions. You know what Grandpa Bo would say about those, right? He'd say, Rob, it's just your opinion, and opinions, they're like buttholes. Everyone has one, they all stink, including mine. Let's move on to today's 100 Humans. Oh my God. It was a long walk to work today across snow-capped mountains and through river valleys, and on that walk I encountered 100 humans and I asked them all a question. Today's question was, Let me see. Today's question was... name a reason you might not accept a job. Nombra una razón por lo que podrías no aceptar un trabajo. I asked them that question. They gave me their answers. I'm in possession of the top 7 answers right here. Your job in the audience is to identify those top 7 answers. All right, let's get into it. Dan, what do you think? A reason you might not accept a job.
It is against my dignity.
Okay, so it's undignified. It is undignified. Very good answer. It is undignified there. No, it's not. Wah, wah, wah. Good answer though, dude. Have you ever, like, what job would be undignified for you?
Right now, I cannot think of an example, but...
Yeah, no, me neither. I have done some really terrible crap in my past, dude. But I tell you what, working in a slaughterhouse would go against my morals, I think. Even though I do eat meat. So I am quite a hypocrite there. But I don't think I could kill animals for a living, for example. I suppose that's not a question of dignity, more a question of my morals, but there you go. All right, very good, very good. All right, well done, Dan, albeit not there. Let's see. Working night shifts. Working night shifts, says Eugene. I can't give it to you. Sorry. It's a good answer, but yeah, night shifts isn't there. Have you ever done night shifts, dude?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Did you like it?
I didn't mind.
I didn't, yeah. I mean, I suppose the money was good at that time. But it did throw off my circadian rhythms. You know, like, it was hard to kind of re-engage in a society after the shift. Anyway, let's continue. Vero says salary. So low pay, salario bajo, low pay. A bunch of people said salary here. Van Samroff, Noel on Instagram. They all said low pay. Is salario bajo there? Yes, it is. Well done. Low pay is there. 31 of 100 humans said low pay. It's the number one answer. Okay. All right. And so did Lau Sweden. Said salary as well. Well done, well done. All right. Where are we? Someone else says shifts here. Shifts. I think it's Vero. Against my principles, said Artemisa. No principled argument is there, I'm afraid. Incompatible schedules with my lifestyle, says Artemisa. Okay. Dan, I know you hate it when I do this, but I'm going to kind of mash a bunch of these schedule and shift answers together and say long hours, right? Muchas horas de trabajo. Long hours. Is long hours there? Yes, it is. Well done. All right, let's see. Let's continue. So let's have a look on Instagram. Winning the lottery, says Carlos. Oh, dude. Dan, if you won the lottery, would you quit?
You won't see me anymore.
Not even personally, outside.
I will block all of you on WhatsApp.
I don't believe that. Would you really do that?
Yes.
Oh, no, Dan.
I will block my whole contact list.
But if you win the lottery, I'm going to win it with you, dude. We play together.
I don't mind.
You don't care. Just in case.
Do you remember who's got the paper?
Yeah, you've got the ticket this week. Oh, God, now I'm terrifying. Because you know what? I don't think I would leave my job, dude. I don't think I'd leave my job if I won the lottery. I suppose it depends on how much, doesn't it? Like, if I won millions, I would probably leave my job. If I won $1 million, probably not. Probably not. But there you go. Now I know mine and Dan's friendship is wholly based on the idea that he's poor. Our mutual poverty, Dan, keeps us friends, and I like that. At least I know where the base is. All right, let's continue. Unethical practices, says Fenokitty. It's amazing, actually. Maybe this should have been in the 100 humans, but no one in the 100 humans said this. Unethical practices against my principles, things like that. MP Contel says, not feeling respected. Well, for that to happen, you'd have to have un jefe desagradable, right? No? A mean boss. I know I've done it again, Dan, but we've got to get there. A mean boss is there. Well done. Feeling disrespected. Yeesh. Let's turn our attention back to our live audience. Oh, wow. Very long commuting distance. It's not there, first of all, but yeesh. But there's something very close to that there, Mike. It's just too big of a stretch to give it to you. Think not commuting to the office, but you might have to do something as part of the job that you're not, doesn't fit with your lifestyle, maybe. Eugene says, a dangerous job. Danger is dangerous there. Un trabajo peligroso. Is it there? Yes, it is. Well done. Overly repetitive tasks. Not there. I tell you what, a long commuting distance could be the location. Okay, la ubicación del sitio. So I'm going to give Mike that. Well done. And Vero says traveling a lot. Tener que viajar mucho. That's also there. Vero, well done. Okay, there was just one you couldn't get, but we have to go through the list. When I asked 100 humans to name a reason you might not accept a job, nombra una razón por la que podrías no aceptar un trabajo. In position number 7, we had travel a lot. Tener que viajar mucho. In number 6, we had danger. It was dangerous. Trabajo peligroso. In position number 5, no benefits. Falta de beneficios. In position number 4, ubicación, location. In position number 3, un jefe desagradable, a mean boss, 17 of 100 humans. In position number 2, long hours, 18 of 100 humans said that. And finally, in position number 1, a low pay, salario bajo. All right, guys, that's all we've got time for today, but I'll see you again tomorrow and indeed this afternoon. Catch you next time.